Hey there, welcome to the Conversations with Ree podcast, aka the CWR Podcast, that airs every Wednesday, and I'm your host, Rita. Hey there, welcome back to Conversations with Ree Life is series. This week, I want us to look at what life is not. Perhaps this will be a part 1, and down the road we'll have a part 2. Reason being, I think there might be much more that will come out of this from my own meditations, from your thoughts. But let's begin where we're at and see what comes forth. So life is not. The first thing I'm going to say is point number 1. Highlight number 1 is life is not a template. A template denotes the fact that there is already a set way things should flow, the how you should do life, the way you should be in all its different categories, I guess, how to be a woman, how to be a man, or things are done or how to be, and our role is to copy and paste, or a standard has already been set and that's what is to be attained to. And there's already a path to follow. This comes before this, and that is followed by that, and voila, life is being done. And I'm rejecting this. I really feel like a lot of this template we have been fed has caged us, has put us in prisons, has this template has caged us, has imprisoned our minds, has trapped us in a certain form of mental ascent. So mentally we are imprisoned even if we don't know it. And this then affects our identity, this then affects our expressions, this then affects all that we are and all that we can be. And in many ways, this also affects our vision. Our vision is misinformed, and therefore our vision of life or of ourselves is inaccurate. So if we're coming from an inaccurate source, an inaccurate way of seeing, of perceiving life, then the results are corrupt, are incomplete, are not the full picture. I guess what I'm saying is I'm calling out the lie. I'm calling it out for myself, and I'm sharing what my thoughts are, and hopefully you can call out the lies in your own life as well. So the notion is that the standard has already been set. There's a way the standards have already been set, there's a way things are supposed to be. But my counter is there is a unique ordination for each one of us. There's a unique reason for existence for each one of us. And it cannot be lived out if we're following a set template. It can only be lived out if each one of us inquires of the one who made us, the author of life, the author of our lives, the one who brought us into existence. Inquiring of God about your reason for being. In my case, it would be inquiring of God what was in his mind when he said, "Let there be Rita. I have brought Rita forth. This is what is in my mind about her." That is where the pathway of your life should stem from. The alternative would be to reject the lie and say, let me set the standards for myself. And I think I bring that up because I once was in that type of mind state. And the thing is, I didn't create myself. I have been gifted by my creator to be a co-creator. So therefore, I can create, I can make life out of my decisions, my pursuits. But if I am the source, it's broken. I am not connected to the true source. I need it to be Rita inquires of God, and she does as God is telling her. Versus Rita thinks for herself. Rita is rejecting the lie, but she's relying on herself. I can't rely on myself because I did not make myself. I have the gift of making. I have the gift of creating. It's given to us to make, to create, but the source has to be the source, has to be the guiding point. So inquiring of God becomes the essence of how I do life. And the picture, the vision is that my life is successful or is counted as success if I attain to what God has in his mind for me. Alternatively, I could follow templates and work them very well and get, applauded and get celebrated. But I never attained to that vision. Or I could try to work the template and struggle with it, and then everyone calls me a failure or whatever. So it's neither here nor there. But if I attain to God's idea of me, that's where my naming of success in my life begins. How do we inquire of God? How do we know the reason for existence? One, I think it's in the everyday. It's in the moment by moment. Every one of us, my best of explaining this is every one of us has those nudges, those thoughts that come out of nowhere, those senses to do something, and we either follow through or we subdue it. But that's where it begins. It really begins with God, what's the plan for today? I say this to add a layer that no day is a template of another. No week is the essence of last week may not be the essence of this week. The essence of yesterday may not be the essence of today. So it could boil down to, don't take the car today, take the bus, because maybe there is someone at the bus station I want you to have an exchange with, a moment with, and that is the reason for that day. The reason for your being in that day becomes that. Or it could be right in the career you're doing, I want to start bringing in new changes. Or it could be, I want to shift your career. Or it could be in motherhood or fatherhood or parenting, I want to do things different with you and your children. It could be, it could be so many things. Therefore, it's moment by moment. It opens itself up by just allowing yourself, calming your mind to say, I'm not going to move until I know what God is saying. Or I'll move, but I'll stay, or will be in activities, but I'm trying to tune my ear into what God is saying about my day. About my day becomes of my week, of my month, of the year, of my life. It just builds onto itself. So, in essence, becoming faithful with little, therefore you can become faithful with more. Becoming faithful with your purpose for the day becomes you being able to be faithful with your purpose for your life. So ideally what I'm trying to say is no one shoe fits all. It is so unique. It is so personal. It's as unique as, we're always hearing this. Our fingerprints are so unique. That is how unique the ordination for your existence is. You need to go to the source of life, the source of your life, to know it. versus following the template of how to be an employer, an employee, a mother, a father, a friend, a sister, everything basically. It's almost like you start from scratch and say, wait, I thought this was how life is done, but let me inquire of the source. Bit by bit, you begin to know, begin to understand, begin to get the picture, begin to get clarity. So my hope is that each one of us will stop living life like it's a template, like there's a copy and paste version, and begin to understand the uniqueness of our existence. That said, this statement in itself and everything we've discussed can be further broken down, and I think it will come to life when we're come to life and get further clarity when we're discussing the life isers. So for now, let's just end it at think about the fact that life is not a template. Your life is not supposed to be getting the vision from external and then living that out. It's from within, but the within being from the source of life within you, from God in you, and your communion with God. My highlight number 2 is life is not short. Let me start with the fact that I think for maybe 3-4 years now, I would hear the phrase life is short and just feel so, no. I don't agree. And I think it's taken me a while to be able to articulate what I feel, what I was feeling. And this life is short notion sort of makes life finite. It's like it's saying there's an end to life, and I disagree. And I know there is a context to this, and I think I am going to hopefully address that as well, because I want to talk about life and I want to talk about our own lives. Life is eternal. Life is not short. Life is eternal. And our existence began in eternity before time, and then we get introduced to ourselves in time, and when time is up, we go into eternity after time. So our lives continue from eternity to time to eternity. Remember in episode 1 last week, I brought up the aspect that there's more to our humanity than just what we know. There's more to our existence. And this sort of draws from there that we are spirit. We are not just human. And these thoughts, these understandings that life is eternal, that we are spirit, are supposed to amplify our human experience, are supposed to give strength to it, that while we are still in our human form, there is something new about us. There's something different about us. That we're eternal, from eternity, going back to eternity, and that we're spirit. I think of the fact that life doesn't start or end with yours and my lives. The reality that my life and your life did not start life in that sense. So how can life be short? And I also think of the reality that my entry into time did not start time, neither will my exit from time. However, the fact that I leave time when I come to my end in time, the fact that I leave time, exit it, get out of time, doesn't stop my existence. It's like time and eternal life are intertwined. In one with the truth that my life continues in eternity, but also that not even just a residue of my life, but not even just the impact, but the fact that I was in time continues. I think about the people from our history that we talk about. It could be in our family trees or in the books of history. We narrate their life in line with ours. They did A, B, C, D, so we can do this. So sometimes it's, great grandma or great grandpa did this, that affected that, and now we are a people in this way. Or it can be about innovators, inventions in technology, in medicine, in infrastructure, in learning systems. The list is endless, and how that has affected this generation as we are, the living generation. It is almost like all of life is one endless string. This affects the next and affects the next and affects the next. So life doesn't stop. Life is not short. It is eternal. It's an endless, beautiful symphony loop. And as we are, creativity and innovation has never ended, even as we exist right now, whether in our smaller local existence within our friends and family circles, or in bigger impact, that is, the things you or others are doing that are going to impact this generation and generations to come. Life is continuous. So I'd like us to consider this. Sit with it, think about it, just put it all into consideration. And as that truth, the truth that it is all eternal, how does that affect then your existence and your moment in time, so to speak? How do you then perceive yourself, and how do you then look at life differently and look at your life differently? How does this affect your existence and what it means to be you and to be here in this moment in time? For me, it's three things, at least in the context of what we're discussing now. Like I said, always we are going to open up even more. There's more to open. There's much more. The three things are: one, I'm no longer allowing life to time, the idea of time, to pressure me in that sense. I'm eternal. That's something I'm sitting with. But I also value my moment in time. I realize there's a gift of time that I have. I have a moment in time to bring forth certain things, to change certain things, to affect certain things, to help in certain ways. I have but a moment in time, but I am eternal. And thirdly, life is bigger than me. It is so much bigger than me. There is such a need for like a bird's eye view of life, a God view of life. Life is bigger than just my own path. That is so linear, that is so one-track minded, when there's so many more layers. A conversation came up on the comment section on YouTube of the last episode about legacy, and how, for the most part, I guess we look at we've been taught to think of legacy in terms of, your seed and your what the children you birth and what you leave behind in that sense. And I would think that those who go beyond that, who look away, who look farther than just their own seed and look into the bigger picture of life, see so much more about legacy, what it is. But this is just a beginning thought. We'll look at it some more, but all in all, life is not short. Life is eternal. Life is an endless string. Your life is eternal, but you are in time. How does this affect you? Let's talk. Those are my two key highlights when I've been thinking about this. Life is not. I know there's much more to it, but those are they're like heavy on me, and I don't even know if I've done justice to them. I think there is so much more, and as it opens up to me, as it opens up to you, we can talk about it. But I have two quick points to add, two highlights. And the first one, so let's call it the third one. The third one is, life is not society telling you what to do. I guess it sort of ties to the first point, but how I'm looking at it is, society is not going to stop. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop giving you its opinion, its thoughts, and pushing its agenda. You are going to have to learn how to tune it out and say, life is not society forming the picture for me. I get the picture from my maker. I get the picture from the one who made life. That is how I am going to learn that is what informs my decisions. That is what begins to form my picture, my vision. So the main point here is, society is going to be talking. You are going to have to learn how to do the tuning out, and therefore present yourself to life or to society or to everyone else in the way that has become clear for you from the one who made you. And for my fourth highlight, this was inspired of a tweet I saw. I think I even retweeted it. It was more the tweet went, stop waiting for permission to live and be the best version for yourself. So I'll say, life is not you waiting to be given permission to live and be the best version of yourself. And I think, again, in the first point we alluded to, the best version of yourself being what God intended, what he sees in his mind right now over you, what he's seen, what God says, his word over you, his ordination over your life, the reason for your existence. That's your highest version. And the permission aspect to me is, you have to start having a boldness, a new courage, a new strength, a new audacity, even if you never have, a yes to those ideas, those thoughts that are forming within you, the visions that are coming, and the visions that God keeps depositing in us and nudging us towards and saying, take this step with me and take this next step with me. You have to be willing to execute them without being given permission. Permission could look like so many things for many of us, but the ones that come to mind are like waiting for money or the right time and the right circumstances, or waiting for support, aka connections, or waiting for applause, or you're doing it and you're like, no one's cheering me on. Or you're waiting for when you finally have the right job, or finally have the right title, or when you finally have the right money, right capital, or when the children finally go off to school, or when your parents something, I don't know, I'm not able to think into that right now, but it looks like so many things to all of us. Stop waiting for permission and begin to execute the ideas, the projects. I was in a conversation the other day maybe 2 weeks ago, that defined projects so beautifully for me. Projects, yes, could be activities, but projects could also be yourself. I need to start painting again. I need to start drawing or running, or I need to start dancing. I never have, but I've been thinking about it, or taking singing classes, or gardening, or building that woodwork item, or I do not know, or just within myself. I need to start changing my diet. I need to, go vegan or not, or I need to start working out. I mean, it's the seemingly small things, or the ones you call big. It's in the detail. It's in all these little areas and all the big areas. At this point, for me, big and small are one and the same. The small lead into the big leads into another, brings you back to small. It's all intertwined. Like I said, life, it's part of life, this endless cycle, this endless flow. To recap, 1, life is a unique existence experience. 2, life is eternal. 3, learn to tune society out. And 4, stop waiting for permission or the perfect circumstances to live. I really hope that my thoughts in one way or another have sparked something within you. Again, I don't even know if I have begun to address this like I see it in my mind, or even to the depth they actually exist. So I feel like we're just scratching the surface. But hopefully this episode has begun to form a new conversation in your mind, a new thinking process, thought process, just an awakening in a new way. Because for me, it has. So I hope the same is for you. And as we proceed, we will get into some of these things even more. We'll go into it all further. We have a long season ahead, an exciting long season ahead. So with all that in mind, I guess this is where we'll put our full stop for this week and pick it up from there next week. So until next time, arise and shine. Bye. Thank you for being here. You can catch new episodes of the CWR Podcast every Wednesday, either by watching via IAmArete on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast provider. The CWR Podcast is currently available on Spotify and Anchor. This has been Conversations with Ree.